Hi, this is Attorney Keith Flinn at the Wirth Law Office, and the question is, can I get attorney's fees for having to go to court for child support? Well, I'd like to answer the question, can you get attorney's fees for having to go to child support? And the answer is yes, you can. Now, the way that somebody would do that would be to get a child support order enforced via a contempt filing, in which the court orders that person to pay the past due child support amount, and then to separately file for attorney's fees as the prevailing party. Um, Generally speaking, a court will award attorney's fees to a party who has successfully acquired a judgment for past due child support. However, there is the old idiom, a person cannot draw blood from stone. And so oftentimes, if you're in a circumstance where you are owed money for child support, it probably means that the other side is not exactly full of cash and ready to pay for or able to pay for attorney's fees. And so there is some strategy in terms of applying for past due child support. Obviously, attorneys are expensive, and applying for contempt of court and having an attorney ready and available for you at a bench or a jury trial is an important part of, or I think definitely assists you in your ability to acquire a judgment for past due child support and some kind of structured settlement or an order of the court for payment of that arrearage. It does cost money to have an attorney present for you, and you would like to apply for attorney's fees. And so sometimes, if a person is in the position to wait to apply for that child support, sometimes waiting a few months or trying to acquire the monies directly from the person if there are no protective orders in place, by way of saying, hey, you're not paying your child support, can allow an arrearage to be large enough that it feels more appropriate to bring attorney into the case. That being the case, obviously, the bigger the judgment, the harder it is to collect as against another person. And so there's a calculation that one person goes through on when to file an application for contempt. My particular position would be to just get on top of it as quickly as you possibly can and stay on top of it, knowing that you may very well not ever collect attorney's fees. Now, after that judgment for past due child support is awarded to you, your attorney can apply for attorney's fees, and there's a separate hearing that the court would hear related to attorney's fees if the other side does not stipulate to a reasonable fee. At which point, a person is paying even more for their attorney to go into court to argue for attorney's fees. And so, as attorneys do generally bill hourly, and actually have to bill hourly for these kinds of domestic circumstances, it can become costly for a person to seek attorney's fees. And if there is no likelihood of ever recovering them, sometimes the decision is made not to apply for those attorney's fees, or to reserve application for attorney's fees by agreement. And so the answer is, can you get attorney's fees for having to go to court to collect child support? Absolutely, you can. You can certainly apply for it, and courts do regularly award attorney's fees for contempt on child support. However, whether or not a person is going to actually collect attorney's fees is a whole another separate matter. And it can often be very difficult to acquire attorney's fees from a person that isn't keeping up with their child support obligation. So thanks. This was Attorney Keith Flinn, the Wirth Law Office. Please give us a call if you have any other questions.